There are two things as what we call ourselves, architects. By definition, an architect is a steward of the environment. By definition, the raw definition of what an architect is. The professional who looks out for the environment. And sometimes that gets lost in the commercials. But what we're touching on here is a term we coined called livable communities. What does that mean, livable communities? So the 50 by 100s with no infrastructure, open running sewer, it's a slum. Who wants to live there? People live in those situations not by choice, but just because they have nothing better to access.
Yeah.
So it's incumbent on us in the industry to create and put platforms in place for these livable communities. So that's really key. So that's a little bit of my professional view against, it's not that I'm against quarter acres or 50 by 100s, it's how do we make 50 by 100s livable?
Livable, yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And in those 50 by 100s, is there diversity of space? Are there the schools? Are there the parks? Are the roads wide enough? Is there appropriate infrastructure? And if all of us agreed and had a compact to create livable communities, then you start to have value creation. So for that speculative investor, they will ultimately see value in the product. If they buy today, that product will probably at some point see light of day because it was planned correctly. If it's just, take so many acres and just, as I've heard also said, kata, yes, you have the title deed, but it'll never fully get developed in a proper way, or if it does get developed, it'll be in a way that doesn't add value. So I think for us, we stay keen. We like to work with professionals and landowners and developers who agree and buy into that concept. As a profession, we try to educate to make the end user, again, a lot of times the end user doesn't know any different. Not for fault of their own, they just don't know. They're maybe an accountant, they work in a bank, they know banking. They probably work in hospitality industry, or they're a school teacher or matatu driver, right?
Yeah.
Us professionals who have studied this, who understand, who should be the stewards to create the framework, should be educating and providing these types of environments for them to now then partake.
Okay.
And if everybody does it,
yeah,
or at least a majority of us do it,
yeah,
then we have better neighborhoods, we have better cities, we have, we touched on green, sustainable. Who doesn't want some grass or some trees in their neighborhood, right? I think everybody aspires to that.
That's why we pay premium for land in Runda versus Karen,
absolutely,
versus elsewhere. And to me, that's the easiest way to communicate this value building journey for people. You say, everyone is now, dream location is Runda, Muthaiga, Karen. Why? Because these places were planned a long time ago. Allowances were made for infrastructure development, including size restrictions.
Yes.
Until recently, you couldn't do anything smaller than 5 acres in Karen. Not too long ago. Now you can come down to half acres.
Since they're reduced to half acres in certain spots.
Some areas.
In some areas, not everywhere.
Not everywhere.
Yeah.
And this has an impact on value. So even if you're not buying to settle, you're buying to speculate and grow your capital over time, you still have to think about sustainable planning and development. It's not just a question of owning a piece of land that's 50 by 100, 100 by 100 with a title. Just because I advertise title deed ready or clean title deed ready does not mean anything. Yes, the title is there, but everything behind that title deed doesn't exist. It doesn't have the proper zoning. It doesn't have infrastructure allowance. It could have even been produced illegally, even from a county planning perspective. And this is really what we at Goshen Acquisitions and Grand Acres are trying to get across to the market, that it's about more than just title deed. It's about everything else behind that title that you don't see.